This isn't a warning anymore, it's a post-mortem. As of 72 hours ago, the Western Alliance as we knew it is dead. Not dying, not wounded. Dead. And the autopsy reveals something terrifying. It was suicide. While America was busy tweeting about tariffs and Greenland, the EU and India just signed the biggest trade deal in human history. And here's the kicker. They designed it specifically to function without us. This is the economic equivalent of your spouse opening a joint bank account with someone else while you're still married. In this breakdown, we're exposing the 3 explosive triggers that pushed Europe over the edge. The staggering $4 trillion trade zone that just excluded American companies, and the nightmare scenario unfolding for U.S. farmers, manufacturers, and workers in 2026. This is the story of how America went from global superpower to global outcast in less than 18 months. To understand why European leaders are celebrating in New Delhi today, we need to know why they were rage-posting in London and Berlin last week. And it all traces back to one catastrophic interview. Last Thursday, President Trump went on Fox Business and rewrote history. In defending his threats to abandon NATO, he claimed America's allies, Britain, Canada, Germany, and Poland, quote, stayed a little back, a little off the front lines, in Afghanistan. At the same time, American heroes did the real fighting. The reaction was instant and nuclear. For the first time in modern history, the British Prime Minister publicly called out a sitting U.S. president with raw emotion. Sir Keir Starmer didn't use diplomatic language. He called Trump's comments frankly appalling and insulting. Why? Because the data obliterates Trump's claim. UK, 457 dead soldiers. Canada, 158 dead soldiers. Germany, 59 dead soldiers. Denmark, highest per capita casualties in the coalition. These weren't desk jobs. These were combat deaths. Helmand Province, Kandahar, the same blood-soaked dirt where American Marines fought and died. German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius broke every rule of diplomatic protocol. He went on national TV and demanded an apology. It is just not right, and it is disrespectful to talk about the death of your allies in that way. This isn't hurt feelings. This is the collapse of trust at the molecular level. NATO's Article 5, the sacred promise that an attack on one is an attack on all, relies entirely on one thing: mutual respect for sacrifice. When the U.S. president dismisses British and German blood as staying back, he's not just being rude. He's declaring their alliance worthless. And Europe heard that message loud and clear. Here's where it gets chilling. Europe realized something that changed the entire game. Trump isn't a 4-year problem they can wait out. He's a symptom of a permanent American shift. If the U.S. won't honor the sacrifice of Allied soldiers, it certainly won't defend Allied borders. And if America is withdrawing from 66 international organizations while slapping 41% tariffs on friends, Europe needed a plan B. They found it in India. The negotiations had been dragging on for 20 years. Suddenly, they accelerated into hyperdrive. Because when your security partner insults your war dead and your trade partner becomes your economic predator, you find new partners fast. While Washington argued about whose tariffs were bigger, Brussels and New Delhi dropped a bombshell that will reshape the 21st century. The numbers are staggering. This is larger than the US-Mexico-Canada agreement by a factor of 5. India, historically one of the most protectionist economies on Earth, just threw open the gates. For Europe, not for us. Let's talk cars, because this is where it gets personal for American workers. For decades, selling a BMW in India meant facing a 110% tariff. That's basically a don't even try tax. Under this deal, it drops to 10%. Do you understand what just happened? German automakers, who are currently being strangled by Trump's tariffs in the U.S. market, just swapped the declining American consumer for the exploding Indian middle class. 1.45 billion new customers. Tax-free access. While American cars face walls, it's not just vehicles. Wine tariffs, 150%. Eliminated machinery tariffs, 44%. Gone chemical tariffs, 22%. Gone pharmaceuticals, gone. And India. They get tariff-free access for 99% of exports to the EU. Textiles, leather, jewelry, sectors employing millions now have a direct pipeline to Paris, Berlin, and Rome. The timing is surgical. Just as Trump hits India with 25 to 40% reciprocal tariffs, Europe's door swings wide open. Just as European manufacturers face a 15% wall in America, India's door swings wide open. This is a coordinated economic pincer movement against the United States. Ursula von der Leyen said it plainly in New Delhi. We have sent a signal to the world that rules-based cooperation still delivers. Translation: we don't need America to prosper. The title promises a ban. Legally, you can't just kick the US out of NATO or the WTO, but in geopolitics, you don't need a legal eviction. You just change the locks. A soft ban is intelligence sharing that quietly stops. A soft ban is trade routes redrawn to bypass your ports. A soft ban is when the G7 becomes the G6+1, where real decisions happen in the hallway before you arrive. We're watching it happen in real time. Trump launched his Board of Peace, an alternative forum that includes Vladimir Putin but excludes traditional Western allies. He's withdrawn from 66 organizations in 12 months, calling them globalist traps. The world isn't waiting for America to come back. It's moving on. For years, strategic autonomy was a Brussels buzzword salad. It meant Europe should defend itself without America. It was aspirational. Today, it's operational. The EU-India deal includes massive chapters on defense and security. They're not just trading wine. They're coordinating on Indo-Pacific maritime security, cyber defense intelligence sharing. Things they used to do with Washington, India is hedging too. They were a cornerstone of the Quad, US, India, Japan, Australia, designed to counter China. But with America becoming unpredictable, tariffs on Indian goods, visa threats, India is diversifying. A partnership with Europe is safer than marriage to MAGA. Trump's narrative: tariffs force companies home. The Great Rebuilding. He points to Japan's $550 billion investment pledge from July 2025 as proof. But economists call these paper tigers, promises that evaporate when markets shift. The reality hitting American households right now: inflation. 25% tariffs on global imports. 25% higher prices on your shelves. But the bigger danger is invisible: market access. American farmers in Iowa and Nebraska built their businesses on export markets. When Europe and India eliminate tariffs between each other, American farmers are locked out. A French farmer can now sell wheat to India tax-free. An American farmer pays a tariff. Who wins that contract? This is called trade diversion, and it's how empires silently collapse. European companies now have a first-mover advantage in a market of 1.45 billion people. By the time the US wakes up and tries to negotiate, the shelves will be stocked with German appliances, French fashion, and Italian food. We're losing the market of the future because we're obsessed with the grievances of the past. By 2030, EU-India trade corridor, projected to double US-Europe trade, projected to shrink 15%. This is the mathematics of decline. You don't lose superpower status in one battle. You lose it because everyone else starts doing business without you. We can't ignore the elephant in the Arctic, Greenland. Trump wants to buy it from Denmark. Denmark said no. Trump threatened tariffs on a NATO ally. This sounds like satire. It's not. It's a major fracture driver. As Arctic ice melts, new shipping lanes and resources emerge. The US wants control. But by bullying Denmark, a loyal ally, Trump terrified the Nordic bloc. Sweden, Finland, and Norway now see the US not as a protector, but as a predator. They're moving deeper into EU defense structures and away from US-led NATO. Another brick in the wall of isolation. History will mark this month as the inflection point. The moment the Eurasian rimland, Europe and India, joined hands and closed the gate on Atlantic power, Trump promised to put America first. Mission accomplished. America is now first. First in isolation. First in tariffs. Last in the room where the future is being written. There's no document expelling the U.S. from NATO. But when your allies build a new world economy that excludes you, when they sign history's biggest deals without you, when they demand apologies for insults to their fallen soldiers, you have to ask, did we leave them, or did they leave us? The EU-India deal is signed. The ink is dry. The tariffs are up. The walls are high. Welcome to the New World Order. It's a furious one, and for the first time in a century, America is flying solo. This story is developing at breakneck speed. The full ramifications will take months to materialize. The U.S. response, likely more tariffs, is expected within days. If you want to stay ahead of the geopolitical earthquake, hit subscribe. We're tracking the money, the treaties, and the deafening silence between world leaders. Here's my question for you. Is this soft ban the death of American hegemony? Or is Trump right to demand more from allies, even if it means torching every bridge?